everybody. So this is so exciting today because I saw two super romantic movies based on books I really enjoyed. One book I love that I really love the movies. This is like such a great day for me. Two movies that were really romantic that I really loved. That doesn't happen very often these days. And so I'm going to talk about Crazy Rich Asians, and I'm going to talk about the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society. I was able to see both of them today, and they were both really good, and you should see them both. So Crazy Rich Asians is based on the book by Kevin Kwan, and the book is really fun and light and fluffy. And the book, the major difference between the book and the movie is the book does elaborate more on some of the subplots and some of the other characters, and particularly a subplot involving her mom that is elaborated on quite a bit. But I didn't mind any of the changes that they made. I thought they all basically worked. The story in Crazy Rich Asians is you have a woman named Rachel, played by Constance Wu, who is the girlfriend of this guy named Nick, who is played by Henry Golding. And Henry Golding should like win Sexiest Man Alive or whatever this year. He is so handsome. Holy cow. And he's her boyfriend, but he's been like slumming it out or whatever. And she's this economics professor, game theory professor. She's really smart. And, but somehow she doesn't know very much about his life or his family or anything like that, but they're not like really super serious, but he decides it's time for her to come and meet his family. But he just kind of tells her like, oh, it's just a family, a family wedding, a friend's wedding. And he doesn't really tell her what she's getting into. But it turns out he is the son of this massively rich family in Singapore that came from China. And his mother is played by Michelle Yeoh, who is amazing. And she doesn't take kindly to Rachel. And it's not as much that Rachel is from the background that she is as far as being from a single mom. She's just really doesn't like the fact that she's from America. And, it's just, there's like this prejudice about that. Some of the different subplots between people in Nick's family, his cousin named Astrid gets a little bit of a subplot. It's more in the book, but you get these crazy shenanigans that are leading up to this wedding and all of this stuff between the family, the judging her, and everything was so well done. I thought all of the comedy really hit. I was laughing. I thought that Aquafina was hilarious. I've only ever seen her in Ocean's 8, and I thought that she was way better in this than in Ocean's 8. Way better used, way more funny. I really liked his cousin who his kind of like his sort of flamboyant cousin was hilarious. There's a whole makeover scene that I thought was handled really well and was really sweet and fun, and the final wedding is like amazing. And I thought they had just enough of sort of the cattiness of sort of his friends and the Mean Girls and stuff like that without it being over the top, and they had just enough sort of, I don't know, fashion porn and stuff like that to be entertaining. I thought that Michelle Yeoh's character really like made sense. Like she wasn't like irrational. Like her prejudice and stuff were like grounded in her life experience. And while that might not be a good thing, it's like understandable. And I thought the way it was resolved was really good. And I thought that they had good chemistry, Constance Wu and Henry Golding. And they both were beautiful. And it was just really fun. I had a great time. I loved it. I mean, I guess the only thing that maybe I could say is that I don't think it necessarily needs to be 2 hours. I think you could have cut out a few things, but I really enjoyed it. I had a great time. It was really fun. And then I got to see the Guernsey Literary and Potato Peel Pie Society, which I loved this book. The book was written by Mary Ann Schaefer and Annie Burroughs, and it was based on some true events, but then given characters and given things like and it's set during the occupation of the Guernsey island, the only part of England that was occupied by the Nazis and actually like ruled by the Nazis for all these years. And what happens is James plays this writer named Juliet, and she wants to do something important with her writing. She has this great publisher named Sydney, played by Matthew Good, who is a delight, writing kind of silly books, like humorous books, and she wants to do something important. So she gets this letter from this farmer that is looking for a particular book and happened to find her name in a book, and they start corresponding, and she finds out about this book club that happened on the Isle of Guernsey. It was just a way for them to eat and to gather together and to share experiences together, but it also became kind of a resistance type thing. And the reason why it's called the Potato Peel Pie Society is because that was one of the dishes that was literally just like potato peels and potatoes. It had no flour, nothing that they could cook because they just had very little during this occupation then, and so that became the name, and it was kind of thought of sort of last minute when they're getting interrogated, coming home from a meeting by the Nazis, and you find out about this woman named Elizabeth McKenna, who was a member of the group, and Juliet starts to unravel what happened to Elizabeth, and Elizabeth's played by Jessica Brown Findlay from Downton Abbey, who's so pretty, I think. And then you have Tom Courtenay, who's a great British actor, and Penelope Wilton is phenomenal in this. She is so moving and wonderful, and I mean, she was my favorite part about Downton Abbey, and she is just one of the best performances I've seen all year. She was great, and I really liked Michael Huseman playing Dossie. Really good. I thought that him and Lily James had really good chemistry and was really cute. And I mean, you could maybe complain a little bit that this movie is a little bit slower in pace, but I loved it. I thought it was beautiful. It's directed by Mike Newell, who also directed one of the Harry Potter movies. That's probably he's most famous for, but he is really good with romantic comedies too. He did 4 Weddings and a Funeral, and he's really good with that. And I don't know, I just thought this movie was so sweet, and it was so heartfelt, and it made me cry at times because it's really sad, but it's also very sweet and funny at times. All the performances worked for me. I thought that, I don't know, like I said, I loved the book, and I think they did a wonderful job. My only complaint is that I wish that I had gotten able to see this on the big screen. Such a bummer. I know that the title is long, but you could have just called it the Guernsey Society or something like that. And I think that it would have, I mean, the book was really popular in America. It was a huge book club book, so I would think you could successfully market it. So it's a little bit of a bummer that I never get to see it on the big screen. But I'm glad I got to see it tonight on Netflix. It was really good. You should definitely watch it, and you should watch Crazy Rich Asians. They're both very high up on movies I've seen this year. I loved them. So there you go. That's my thoughts on these 2 movies. So fun to finally have romantic movies that are being made. Yay! So let me know if you get to see these movies, what you think. And thanks so much. Please subscribe to my channel. I'll talk to you later. Bye!